Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about what is exception and how to handle exceptions in core Java. So let's get started. This is not a scratch video, it is continuation video of exception handling playlist. I will provide this playlist link in description. So what is exception? I will write definition of exception here. What is exception? So n unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of program is called as exception. Here, what is exception? An unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of the program is called as exception. Next, see how to handle exceptions in core Java. See, we can handle we can handle exceptions in core Java by using try class block by using, you can also say by using try class block, try catch or finally block. Here what is exception? An unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of the program is called as exception. How to handle exceptions in core Java? How to handle exceptions in core Java? How to handle exceptions in core Java? We can handle exceptions in core Java by using try plus catch or finally block. So I will show now one demo for this. So this is some app test class. Main, I'm adding main method here. Main control space. Then it will give some suggestions. See, main is there, right? So main method. Select control shift F for format. Here, first I will write one statement string s equal to null. After that, sy s4 system.out.println s dot length. See, we are added string s equal to null. We are printing the length. See, let's run. Right click, run as Java application. See, we got the null pointer exception, right? So we got the exception. It is terminated. Our program is terminated. So do one thing. Sy. Hello. The three lines of the code is there. First line, second line, third line. If we are getting exception in second line, third line will not be executed. Let's say, right, run as Java application. See, we got the exception. Exception in sixth line. We got the exception in here. Then next line, it is not printing. So how to handle exceptions in core Java, right? Here, how to handle exceptions in core Java. We can handle exceptions in core Java by using try with catch or finally block. I will use try with catch now. Suppose this line we are if we know if any statement is throwing exception, then it is recommended to place that statement in try catch block. So I know this line is throwing the exception. So try, I am adding in try catch block, catch exception ex. So sy s4 ex dot get message. So I am saying print the region why this is failing. Control S, select all, Control Shift F for pretty format. Looking good, right? Pretty format is nothing. Looking like a good. So right click, run as Java program. So now exceptions were handled. Here cannot invoke string.run because S is null. So we got the message allow. See, if previously if exception is raised here, then it will be terminating here. It is not calling this one, right? But now here, so you control. So control. It is if it is failing, also it is executing next lines as well. So here we are successfully handled exceptions in core Java, right? So if you want to handle specific exception rather than exception e dot exception ex, right? So if we are calling s dot length, we know like we will get a null pointer exception agent. We will get null pointer exception. If we know it will be raised null pointer exception. Then take another catch, control V. Now null pointer exception. Null pointer exception. Suppose exception, control C, you paste. Somehow it is not allowing. Do yeah, use the bracket, so semicolon, selector, control shift F here. So how to handle exceptions in core Java? We can handle exceptions in core Java by using try with catch block or finally block. Finally block I will explain in further videos, future videos. See here in this line we are getting the null pointer exception. So we are handle the null pointer exception. Maybe chance to get another exceptions as well. Suppose for example string s is equal to null, right? So here we are getting the null pointer exception. So sometimes may chance to get other exceptions as well. If it is getting null pointer exception, this catch block will be handled. If any other kind of exceptions will be raised, then this catch block will be raised. This catch block will be called. So here I am mentioning message as well. See, null pointer. So it is calling like a null pointer catch block. Suppose I am here also exception. See, now right click, run as Java application. Here we got this is first catch block is called null pointer cannot invoke string dot because s is null. See after that it is also executed. So it is not terminating if any exception is raised in between the any statement. Assume like a this is a statement, this is a statement, this is a statement. If any statement is raised, if any statement exception is raised, then remaining statements are not affected, right? It is remaining statements successfully executing. See, we are successfully handled exceptions. We are successfully handled exceptions and we are used multiple catch blocks. This is for specific for the null pointer exception. If null pointer exception is raised, then only this will be called. So this catch block will be executed when if null pointer is executed. Let's see. So now I am changing to 10 divided by 0. Let's see now what will happen. Right click, run as Java application. See, exception by 0. Exception by 0. It is calling exception. Second catch block is called. So if you want to handle specific catch, if you want to mention specific catch block, then mention. It will raise the arithmetic exception, right? So add here another catch block to change to arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception, right? Select control shift F, control S. See, now I am running. Previously it will be executed last catch block because it will throwing the this standard order printer. It will throw in the number point exception. Post this catch block will be checked, but it is expecting only. It will be raising null pointer exception. This is not. Then we are mentioning the another catch box exception, right? So it is the call. It is like a super exception for all exceptions, right? Now we are added specific exception, runtime exception. So right click, run as Java application. Now it will execute it here. Arithmetic catch block is executed, right? Suppose these two catch blocks are not there, but it is raising the we are added try catch block, but it is raising the arithmetic exception. We are only mentioning null pointer exception. Let's see what will happen. It will be prints are not disallow. It will be prints are terminated. See, we got the arithmetic exception, but it is not printing. So that means it will be terminated. Right. So in this video, we are successfully understand what is exception and how to handle exceptions in core Java. What is exception? An unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of program is called exception. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about what is the meaning of exception handling, explain about exception hierarchy, explain about checked exceptions, explain about unchecked exceptions. Can we maintain order or not if multiple catch blocks are present? So let's get started. It is not a stretch video. It is continuation video of exception handling playlist. This playlist link I will provide in description of this video. So what is the meaning of exception handling? First question. What is the meaning of exception handling? Exception handling. So these are the interview questions. Very, very important. Must prepare before going to interview. So black color. See here. What is the meaning of exception handling? Exception handling. Exception handling does not mean preparing an exception. Preparing an exception. We we have to define alternative way to continue the rest of the program normally. This way of defining alternative is nothing but exception handling. Is nothing but exception handling. See what is meaning of exception handling? Exception handling does not mean repairing exception. We have to define alternative way to continue rest of the program normally. This way of defining alternative is nothing but exception handling. So black color. Second question here. Explain about exception hierarchy. Explain about exception hierarchy. Explain about exception hierarchy. So answer is object. Object is a superclass of all classes. See, I will draw a diagram. So here, object is a superclass of all classes. Object is derived throwable, throwable, throwable. So superclass of exception handling is a throwable. Superclass of all classes is a object. Throwable is divided into two subtypes. Throwable is divided into two subtypes. Exception, error. Here, explain about exception hierarchy. This is the exception hierarchy. Object, it is derived to throwable. Next here, throwable, derived to exception and error. So error. See, it is a diagram of exception hierarchy. Control C, paste here, Control V. Explain about exception hierarchy. So object is a root class of all classes. Next, throwable is derived from the object. Throwable is a root class of all exceptions. Throwable is derived into exception and error. So let's open the throwable. Let's open the object class. Do one thing. Let's open the throwable class. So throwable Java. Here after opening Control T. Remember Control T. This is the hierarchy. Here object throwable, right? Object throwable. Object is a superclass of all classes. After the throwable is there. Inside throwable. So we have said like subclasses. Because here inside throwable, error is a one subclass, exception is a one subclass, error is a subclass. Remember? So here explain about exception hierarchy. So object is a root class, throwable is a in object, throwable is derived, throwable is a root class of exception hierarchy. Throwable have two implementation classes are there, exception and error. Remember? Next question. Explain about checked exceptions. Explain about checked. Explain about checked exceptions. Answer is here. Explain about checked exceptions. Right? Go to diagram. See here, under the exception, classes are called checked exceptions. So I am creating diagram. Under exception are called checked exceptions. See here, suppose, see here, IO exception. IO exception. Under IO exception, file not found exception. File not found exception. So it is called a checked exception. Under exception are called checked exceptions. See here, checked exceptions. Under exception are called checked exceptions. So minimize to 14. Under exception are called checked exceptions. Let's say under exception, IO exception and file not found exception, there are not. So IDE control T, nothing but it will open hierarchy, type hierarchy, right? So the exception is there, right? Open, go to IO. See here, file not found exception there, right? So it is under the exception. Under the exception, file not found exception is there. Remember? Yeah, right. So under exception are called checked exceptions. Example, IO exception. In IO exceptions, one scenario is file not found exception. So we successfully understand, explain about checked exceptions. Checked exceptions are under exception classes are called checked exceptions. So copy this one, copy this one. Under exception, subclasses are called checked exceptions. These are called checked exceptions. So next question, explain about unchecked exceptions. For explain about unchecked exceptions. Explain about unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Here go to diagram. So throw here error and subclasses are unchecked exceptions. Errors and its subclasses. Errors and its subclasses are called are called unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Errors and this is the error, right? Error and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Remember this point. And here exception is under exception. Runtime exception is here. Runtime exception. Runtime exception. See under exception, runtime exception is there. Under exception, runtime exception is there. See here, runtime exception and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Runtime exception and its subclasses are called runtime exception and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Are called unchecked exceptions. Are called unchecked exceptions. See what is the question? Explain about unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. See and error and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions, and runtime and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Runtime class and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. So take this snapshot. So I am taking all, Control C, Control V. So next question, can we maintain order or not if multiple catch blocks present? See here in this example, suppose exception is a root class, arithmetic exception is a child class, runtime exception is a child class, right? So then parent is last, childs are first, right? So it is question we need to maintain order or not if multiple catch blocks are there. So in this scenario, no error. Then I will copy this one, Control X, and I will paste here. Let's see what will happen. See, we are getting the error. Then here, can we maintain order or not if multiple catch blocks are present? So fifth question, can we maintain order or not? Fifth question, can we maintain order or not if multiple catch blocks present? Then answer is, see, when we are using first childs and after that parent, no error. We need to follow catch blocks order from child to parent. Parent, like child to parent, nothing but and control child. Here, post child catch block, after that child catch block, parent catch block. So we need to follow catch blocks order from child to parent. Else we will get compile time error. We need to follow catch blocks order from child to parent, else we will get compile time error. Remember this point. Here, one more. Suppose this is the one statement, right? So if this is the one statement and this is the one statement, assume we are expecting one exception raised in this line. So then only place this line in try and catch block. So we can place only risky code. We can place only risky code inside try block. Length of the try block should be as less as possible. Length of the try block should be as less as possible. So here I am assuming this line will be the exception. So I am added this line only. So let's recall once. What is meaning of exception handling? Exception handling does not mean repairing an exception. We have to define alternative way to continue rest of the program normally. This way of defining alternative is nothing but exception handling. Explain about exception hierarchy. A root class of R classes is a object. From object, throwable is derived. In exception handling, root class is a throwable. It has multiple implementations, but we are considering two implementations like exception and error. So exception and its subclasses are called checked exceptions. Example, IO exception, file not found exception, etc. Explain about unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are comes under error and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions and runtime exceptions. Runtime exceptions and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Example here, null pointer exception. Next question, can we maintain order or not if multiple catch blocks present? We need to follow catch blocks order from child to parent, else we will get compile time error. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hello everyone, hope you are doing good. In this video, I will discuss about what is superclass for all classes in Java, what is exception hierarchy in Java, what is difference between checked and unchecked exceptions in Java, what is exception in Java. So let's get started. What is exception? N, unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of the application. Normal flow of the application is called is called exception. Is called exception. What is exception? An unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of the application is called an exception. So, what is superclass for all classes in Java? It is a object class. Object class. So, what is superclass for all classes in Java is object class. What is exception hierarchy in Java? So, exception hierarchy. Exception hierarchy. Exception hierarchy. All classes. Superclass for all classes is object class. So, here object class, right? Throw, throwable, like all classes. Superclass for all classes is object, like that. All exceptions. Superclass is throwable. Throwable divided into exception and error is called exception hierarchy. Is called exception hierarchy. Here, what is exception hierarchy? Here, object class. Object class is a superclass for all classes. Throwable. Throwable is the superclass of all exceptions. Throwable is divided into two, exception and error. Here, throwable is divided into two parts, exception and error. Is called the exception hierarchy. Is called the exception hierarchy. Here, this question is completed. What is difference between checked and unchecked exceptions in Java? Let's discuss about what is difference between checked and unchecked exceptions in Java. Here, runtime exceptions. Runtime exceptions. Runtime exceptions is derived from the exception. See here, what is the difference between checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions? So, checked exceptions. Exception under subclasses are checked exceptions. Runtime exceptions and its subclasses are unchecked exceptions. Here, runtime exceptions and its subclasses are unchecked exceptions. Here, runtime exceptions and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Are called unchecked exceptions. Here, error and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Error and errors and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Are called unchecked exceptions. See here, what is the difference between checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions? Checked exceptions are therein under exception. Here, exception class inside are the checked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are therein runtime exceptions under runtime exceptions. Runtime exceptions and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Are called unchecked exceptions. Errors and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Examples here. Here, I will tell example for checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. Checked exceptions. Checked exceptions are under the exception. So, one is IO exception. IO exception is a checked exception. Unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exception examples are like like arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, arithmetic exception, and null pointer exception. Here, checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. What is checked exception? Definition is checked exceptions found at compile time. Checked exceptions found at compile time. I will give live example also. Checked exceptions found at compile time. Unchecked exceptions found at runtime. Unchecked exceptions exceptions found at runtime. Un, Unchecked exceptions found at runtime. See here, in this video, we are called what is superclass for all classes in Java. Is called all class superclasses for all classes is update. What is exception hierarchy in Java? So exception hierarchy is for all exceptions superclass is a throwable. It will derived into exception and error. Exception and error. This is the exception hierarchy. What is difference between checked and unchecked exceptions in Java? See here, under exception classes are called checked exceptions. Under runtime exceptions and errors are called unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Here, runtime exceptions and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. Is called unchecked exceptions. Here, errors and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. So under runtime exceptions and errors are called unchecked exceptions. Here, error under classes are called checked exceptions. Checked exceptions. Example for the checked exceptions are IO exceptions. Example for the unchecked exceptions are arithmetic exception, null pointer exception. Checked exception found at compile time. Unchecked exception found at runtime. Let's go for example. I will show post checked exceptions. Here, checked exception found at compile time, right? Checked exceptions found at compile time. Here, suppose a.txt, some file I am passing in the string format. So f dot create file. Cut this one, main method. Create new file, semicolon. Here we got error. So here throws declaration surround with try catch. Here IY exception. What is this IY exception? It is a checked exception. That means checked exception. Checked exceptions found at compile time. So this is the IY exception is a checked exception. It is found at compile time. So we got compile time error, right? Here we got compile time error. We got compile time error, right? This is called checked exception. Unchecked exception. Here unchecked exceptions are called arithmetic exception and null pointer exception. Suppose I will now also post null pointer exception. Here 10 divided by 0. Here in compile time we are not getting any error. Control as this file, run as Java application. Here we got the arithmetic exception. That means this is the runtime exception. And another is suppose string name is equal to null. SY name dot length. Name dot length control as run as Java application. Here we got null pointer exception. That means these are arithmetic exception and null pointer exceptions are unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions found at runtime. Unchecked exceptions found at runtime. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you all. Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about different ways to print exception information into console in core Java. So let's get started. It is not a scratch video. It is continuation video of exception handling playlist. This playlist link I will provide in description of this video. See here. So this code we have developed in previous videos. So we can use system.out.println to print the exception information. System.out.println. Here, suppose you can mention, right? Null pointer exception raised, like that you can mention. copy, Control C. Number must not be 0. You can mention like that. Here you can mention value must not null like that. So I'm running this piece of code. Let's see. Run as Java application. Then it will print the exception message here. Number must not be 0 because of system.out.println we are adding 10/0. So it is raising exception. We are placed in try block in class catch. We are in catch multiple catches are there. It is matching with automatic exception. So this catch block is executed. We can write like this, or we can also use this is the ex right plus ex dot get set get message get cause get stack trace. These are the there right. Let's see. Suppose get message it is from the throwable. Get stack trace it is from the throwable. So let's open throwable class and see. So different ways to print exception information into Conjure in Core Java, right? So for that, we are now checking the methods. We are open arithmetic exception, going to runtime exception, throwable. Now in this video, I will use throwable, minimize. This is the outline. Here I will use get message method, toString and print text trace. So open the notepad for bullet points, maximize throwable class defines the following methods to print exception exception information to the conjoins here. Throwable class defines the following methods to print exception information to the conjoin. So post to one here print stack trace Let's see about this print stack trace. So I am adding. So close this one, close this, maximize, add, get, print stack trace. So here ex dot print stack trace. Print stack trace is right. Print stack trace. Here it is a void method. It will not return anything. So this is not applicable. Remove this one. System.out.println. Print stack trace. Let's see what it will display. Right click run as Java application. See here we are getting java.long.arithmetic exception divided by 0. See that means we are getting this is the exception name. So print stack trace giving prints name of the exception. After that here this is the description of the error and stack trace. Tax trace is nothing but which line this exception is raising and which class, which packet it is showing, right? So minimize. Next command is use ex dot get message. It is returning string, so you can use system.out.println as well. Semicolon. So value must not null. Control S get message. Let's see what it will be printing. Java application. Run as Java application. It is printing divided by 0. That means here variation get message, right? It is printing just description. It is printing just description. So take get message. This it will printing the prints description. It is printing description. Third, I will use now toString. Let's remove this toString dot toString. It is written type string. So right click, run as Java application. Here we got this is the print the name of the exception and description. So it is printing prints name and description. toString it is printing. Here it is printing toString, it is printing prints name description. So different ways to print exception information into console in core Java. Here throwable class defines the following methods to print exception information to the console. Throwable class is a root class of exception handling. So in root class, these methods are available. By using, we can print the exception information. If we are using print stack trace, we will get print the name, which class exception is raised. After that, exception, class name, description, why this exception is raised, and track trace, package, class name, and line of the code, which line this exception is raised. If you are using get message, it prints only description, why this exception is raised. If you are using toString, it will print the name and the description. So thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about what are keywords used in exception handling in core Java. Final block, multiple choice question. Can you tell me one situation where the final block don't be executed? For try-catch blocks, curly braces are mandatory or not. Final versus finally versus finalize. How to use bitwise are also called vertical bar or pipe in catch blocks. See, this is the pipe symbols. So let's get started. It is not a sketch video. It is continuation video of exception handling playlist. This playlist link I will provide in description of this video. So first question, what are keywords used in exception handling in core Java? Copy this one, Control C. I'm pasting in Notepad. So what are keywords used in exception handling in core Java? So one is try, deal, catch, see, finally, D, throw, E, throws. Here, what are keywords used in exception handling in core Java? Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. So let's move to second question. Finally block, multi-choice question. Control C, Control V. So this code we have developed in previous video. As of now, I'm commenting this one. Star, try. In try, I am returning one value 90 semicolon. After that, I am using finally block. Return 78 semicolon. Here, change method return type to int. So do one thing, cut Control X, create one method, private static integer, suppose get value method, paste inside this. So this method ID, right? This is static method. So call with class name. Here it is a app test class. Control C, Control V dot get value. It will return integer value. So system dot out dot println value. Tell me, these are the two lines. This is our code. Tell me which one it will print. It will print try return or finally return. This is one return is there. It is one return is there. Which one it will print? It will print 90 or 78. So if in this situation, here finally it dominates try. So it will print finally block return. It will print finally block return. So right click, run your Java application. See, it will printing 78. That means finally is dominating try block. So that's why it is printing 78. See, so copy this code, Control C, paste here, public class, app test, public static void main string args. Yeah. So another bracket we need to close. The finally block multi-choice question. Here, this is the try. It is a try block. It is a catch block. Both are returning some value which it will print. It will be printing 78. See, we are getting the result here 78. Second question done. Third question. Can you tell me one situation where the finally block don't executed? So, third question. Post we can check. I'm removing this code. So I'm removing this as well. Uncomment this. Suppose I'm adding finally here. Finally block. Right? So I am running. See, it is exception is raising. Arithmetic exception. So it will be prints. Value must not be null. Divided by 0 something. After that it will print finally block. Let's see. Run a Java application. See here we are getting hello. Finally it is printing. This catch block is printing. Arithmetic exception catch block is printing. Right? So here our question. Can you tell me one situation where the finally block don't be executed? This is so final block don't be executed. So I'm saying when this exception is raised, so terminate this application or crash this application. For that I'm using system.exit. When entering into this try block, I am saying exit system.exit. In this scenario, see, it is the final block executing almost. Right click, run as Java application. Run as Java application. See here, hello. It is exception raised, it is printing. So you can paste here control as in try post statement we are using system.exit 1. So after that this eighth line exception is throwing. So our question is can you tell me one situation where the finally block don't be executed? So right click run a Java application. So wait some time here. So add another sys here also. Be for system.exist controllers run a Java application. See before system.exist. It is printing. It is printing, but remaining this catch block is not calling. It is here exception is raising. This catch block is not calling, and finally block is not calling. That means if we are using, so our question is, can you tell me one situation where the finally block don't be executed? So here answer, if we place, if we place system.exist B for raising, B for raising any exception, then finally block will not executed. Finally block will not execute if a place system.exist. See here, if we are placing this same in 10th line, here we are not, it is not crossing. We need to place B for here 9th line. We are getting exception. If we are placing system.exist in 10th line, it will, so it will not terminating, it will call in the catch block. After that it is printing. So can you tell me one situation where the finally block don't be executed? If we place system.exit before raising any exception, here it is raising on exception. If we are placing after 10th line this statement, then this statement don't be executed. It is going to catch block. So if we place system.exit before raising any exception, then finally block don't be executed. So here we are placing here system.exit before up to the 7th line. We are no error is raising. So it is directly terminating here itself. So it is not executing after lines of code. So this is done. Next, for try catch blocks, curly braces are mandatory or not? So here this question, for try catch blocks, curly braces are mandatory or not? Try catch, right? So I'm removing curly braces. So we are all or no. Like if inside any if condition single statement is there, then brackets are optional. I will show. See here, if 10 double equal to 1. Suppose sample return 10. Suppose not equal to 0, return 10. This condition. So if you want to add other statements here, like this, if it is true, then only execute these lines, these two lines, then we are placing in brackets, right? So if more than one statement is there, after if condition, we need to place it brackets. So see here, these are the three statements are there. Agent may be required. Here one statement only there. So here catch block, these are the optional. Optional. Let's check these optional or not. So we are removed. What is saying? See here, we are getting the error complete block. So complete block. So these are the mandatory. So here curly brackets, brackets. These are the curly brackets are mandatory mandatory for try comma catch comma finally blocks. Here this is the open curly bracket, this is the closed curly bracket. Inside it is curly on block, like open curly bracket, closed curly bracket, it is a block. So fourth question done. Fifth, final versus finally versus finalize. Control C. So fifth point here, fifth point, final versus finalize versus finally versus finalize. So final. See here, final. Final is a modifier. So post point. Suppose I'm mentioning like a final is a modifier. Final is a modifier applicable for classes, classes, methods, and variables. See, final is a modifier. Final is the modifier. Final is the final is the modifier applicable for classes, methods, and variables. That's it. Final, final, public final class app test. This is method, right? Public final string. Final. Suppose it is a variable, right? Final string. See, final is a modifier applicable for classes, methods, and variables. Control Z. Next point. Next point is B. If a if a class declared if a class declared as the final child class child class creation is not possible. See, if a class declared as the final, then child class creation is not possible. Let's check. So I'm using final, right? So I want to extend another class. Suppose class A extends app test. See here, what is saying? The type A cannot subclass the final class app test. So we are getting error. Suppose if I am removing final, see no errors here. If I will remove final, no errors. Control Z, I am adding final. See now it is giving error. So this is right. So remove this code. If a class declared as final, then child class creation is not possible. Where right? Third point, see, if a method declared as the final, then overriding riding of that method is not possible. If a method declared as final, then overriding of that method is not possible. Let's see. So I am creating one method, public final string, suppose some data return. I am giving default value now. So final, right? I'm creating another class A extends app test. So I want to override this data method. Let's see what will happen. So it is not giving any suggestion. Do one thing, copy same method, paste here, and mention override. See, it is saying cannot override the final method from app test. So it is giving error. Suppose if I will remove final here, let's see, then now no errors, right? So remove this code. Here final this value. If a method declared as the final, then overriding of that method is not possible. So we are prepared, right? So next point, if a variable declared final as the final, then if a variable declared as the final, then reassignment reassignment is not possible. If a variable declared as the final, then reassignment is not possible, right? So reassignment is not possible. That's it. This is I am giving final string s is equal to null. After that I am changing to s is equal to a. See, we are getting the error saying the final local variable s cannot be assigned. It must be blank and not using a compound assignment. So it is not allowing. So if I will remove final, see, then it will be allowing. So here we have successfully understand final. Final is the modifier applicable for classes, methods, and variables. If a class declared as final, then child class creation is not possible. If a method declared as the final, then overriding of that method is not possible. If a variable declared as the final, then reassignment is not possible. So it is done. After that, finally, block. We are now blocks. We can use this is the open parenthesis, closed parenthesis, inside. Everything is got it. Block, right? So here, finally block, finally block, finally block should be executed. Finally block should be executed always, always, irrespective of whether exception raised or not. Exception raised or not raised. Exception raised or not raised. Here, finally block should be executed always, irrespective of whether exception raised or not raised. So I am removing this part. Here, seventh line, exception is raising. So related catch block is executing. Right? I am adding here another SYSO. I am mentioning exception. So in seventh line, exception is raised. So we are saying if exception raised or not raised, this finally block must be executed. Let's see this is true or not. Finally block should be executed always, irrespective of whether exception is raised or not raised. So if it is exception raised, if it is not exception raised, this finally block must be executed. Let's see. So here seventh line exception is raising, where we need to observe this line, eighth line is printing or not, and which catch block is executing. This final block is printing or not. So right click, run as Java application. Here, so seventh line is exception raised, eighth line is not printing, value must not null. So it is printing the arithmetic exception and it is printing the allow. So exception is raised at seventh line, remaining statements, remaining lines of code not executing, but finally block executing. So here, finally block should be executed or always irrespective of whether exception is raised or not. So if exception is raised or not raised, but finally block should be executed. This is the meaning. So I am commenting exception raised code. That's it. Now finally block executing or not. Here exception, this line is executed and finally block executed. So if exception raised, also finally block is executing. If exception is not raised, also finally block is executing. So it is like a we can mention mandatory execution block except some special cases nothing but system.exist. If system.exist is there in try block, it is first executed before raising any exception, then this finally block will not be executed. Mandatory execution block except some special cases. You can also add if you want to do any mandatory activity like cleanup activity, then we need to place those code in this finally block. Mostly used for cleanup activities, mostly used for cleanup activities, right? So I'm removing this code. So next, Control S, this is done. So finally block is done. Next here, finalize method. It is a method, right? It is a method called by garbage 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 collector just before destroying an object. Just before destroying an object. Finalize method. It is a method called by garbage collector just before destroying an object. Just before destroying an object. It is a method called by garbage collector just before destroying an object. So it is done. Last question. How to use bitwise R, also called vertical bar or pi. This is the symbol in each in cat blocks. Here, this is the sixth question. How to use bitwise R, also called vertical bar or pi. Pipe. This is the pipe symbol in cat blocks. So let's see. So I am merging these two cat blocks. Control X. I am using pi symbol. Control pi. Control V. Now I am removing this cat block. So here, if you are using pipe here, bitwise R vertical bar or pipe symbol, then declaration of variable. This is the class, this exception class. After that, reference variable, right? One is sufficient. So remove this. We need to mention only one. If you want to add another as well, add again pipe. So mention like illegal argument exception. If you want to raise illegal argument exception, you can add like this. So suppose file not found. If you want to add another, like you can mention file not found like this. Here it is saying unreachable block, never thrown, try statement. So it is saying this try block, this exception never thrown. So remove this. You can mention if you want another like, yeah, if you want to mention here array index out of bound exception like that. So it is allowing. So like that you can mention this is the pipe bar vertical bar R bitwise R. So see, what to use bitwise R, also called vertical bar pipe. This is the pipe symbol in cat block. So we are successfully completed these 6 questions. Let's review once. Revision 1. What are keywords used in exception handling in core Java? Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. These two I will explain in future videos. Finally block multiple choice questions. If try is there, catch is there, both are returning some value which it will print. It will print the finally. Next, can you tell me one situation where the finally block don't be executed? If a place system.exist before raising any exception, then finally block will not executed. For try catch blocks, curly braces are mandatory or not. Curly braces, this is open bracket, closed bracket, are mandatory for try catch finally blocks. Final vs. Finally vs. Finalize. Final. Final is the modifier applicable for classes, methods, and variables. If a class declared as the final, then child class creation is not possible. If a method declared as the final, then overriding of the method is not possible. If a variable declared as the final, then reassignment is not possible. See, finally block should be executed always, irrespective of whether exception is raised or not raised. Finalize method. It is a method called by garbage collector just before destroying an object. For to use bitwise R, also called as vertical bar pipe. This is the pipe symbol or vertical bar or bitwise R in catch blocks. So like this we can use. Like this we can use these three we are using. If any out of these three, if any exception is raising, so we are saying print this message. For these three exceptions, we are giving a single reference variable. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Try with cat block or finally block is mandatory or not in exception handling in Java. Try with cat block. Let's check cat block. Catch exception if. So try with cat block is mandatory. So there is no error. Let's check with finally. Finally. Yes. Let's remove the cat block. No error. So let's comment it. Try with cat block or finally block is mandatory up to Java 1.6 version. Up to Java 1.6 version. In Java 1.7 version, one feature called try with resource. Try with resource. Try with resource by using we can use only try. So in Java 1.7 version, one feature called try with resource by using we can use only try without catch or finally we can write try block in Java 1.7 version one feature called try with resource by using we can use only try without catch or finally block. Finally we can write try block. We can write try block. So let's see. This is try with resources. Here we need to take one auto closable. Suppose scanner x is equal to new scanner system.in control shift 2 for imports. Whatever you are using, that class should be implement auto closable. Let's check implementation closable. Let's check implementation. See here auto closable. So this class should be auto closable. Those classes only allowed here. This is called here. This is called here. Try with resource. So try with catch block or finally block is mandatory or not in exception handling in Java. Up to Java 1.6 version, it is mandatory. After in Java 1.7 version, one feature called try with resource. So if you are using try with resource, catch block or finally block is optional. Thank you for watching. What is finally block in exception handling in Java? Finally block should be executed always irrespective irrespective of irrespective of whether whether exception raised or not raised. So what is finally block? Finally block is one of concept in exception handling in Java. Finally block should be executed always irrespective of whether exception raised or not raised. Exception raised or not raised. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about how to create custom or our choice exception class and how to use it. This is not a scratch video. This is continuation video of how to write JUnit test cases for exceptional scenario by using Mockito. This video link I will provide in description. Here I will explain previous video code. Go to service. Here this is the student delayed by ID. First we are checking this ID related object or row exist or not. If exist, we are saying to delete this student row or object, else throw the illegal argument exception. So this is three different class, right? So now in this video I will create custom class or our choice exception class and how to use it. So now in this video I will create our choice exception class and I will also how to use it. So let's get started. See, this is illegal argument exception. It is one parameter. Parameter type is string, right? This is student app, src, main Java. These are the packages, right? Create another package. Click on root package. com.in is a root package. Package exception com.in dot right click new class student not found exception. Browse. Let's check runtime. Runtime exception is a class. Super class. So finish. Then our student not found exception extends runtime. Here student not found exception extends runtime exception. Then create constructor control space. This is default constructor, right? So change here mention string message. In this video we will use this constructor. I will add another constructor as well in future. Once we will start controller related coding, then we will use second constructor, like I'm mentioning integer status code. These two constructors. So private string message. After that private integer status code. So you can mention like this dot message is equal to message. Same copy this one. Paste here. I can paste. Change to status code. Status code. Control see here. Student not found exception class extends runtime exception. So that means this is our choice exception class. So two fields are taken. These two fields, two constructors actually. One parent constructor, two parent constructor. So these are the two fields, right? If you want to setters getters, you can generate setters getters or you can use at setter at getter like that. So now I will use Lombok connotations instead of these two. See here at all are constructor, that means this is called all are constructor. So I'm removing this. After that you can mention at required or constructor. control set. Here you can use non-null. Non-null, that means another constructor with this field. You can add require or constructor here. So remove this one, control S. Yes. Here all are constructor required arcs constructor. This is expecting some serial version ID. So added. Let's check, minimize, go to this here, open C. This is the one parent constructor. This is the two parent constructor. So we can add manually two constructors, or we can use this for the all our constructors. These are the two fields, right? Then it will create constructor for two fields. Required R constructor means wherever we are placing these at non-null, those fields will be taken and constructed one constructor. So this is taken for one field. So one R constructor, two R constructor. So this student not found exception. I am created two constructors. Here in service class we need one parent constructor. So I am replacing now student not found exception, right? Control C, go to student service. Here replace this, replace and import it. So control shift O for imports. Yeah, see here, open imports, student not found exception, control S. This is done, right? Go to exception test. We need to replace also here. So control shift O for imports. This is also done. In student service. So we are added student not found exception, right? Some message. This is some message here, appending one long ID. So in this video, we have successfully created our choice exception and used. So let's run this application. Yeah, this ID 1001, it is not available in database. So go to your student repository. If ID is not exist, it will throw the student not found exception, right? So go to runner, control S. Let's check 1001 record is available or not first. So Scott Tiger set pages 10000 set lines 10000. So select star from student semicolon. Here 1001 record is not available. So I am running the starter class. Right click, run as Java application. We will get student not found exception. So and we have passed one string, right? That string will be displayed appending with ID. Whatever ID we are trying to delete based on that record, it will be shown. See here, student not found exception. It is giving null. Student not found exception. This constructor is called. We are getting null, right? So go to this, add at. So we are getting null, right? So use setter getters, setter add getter, control S, go to starter class, maximize, right click, run as Spring Boot app. So in this video, we have successfully created our choice custom exception. Let's see it will raise exception. I will show our custom exception is raised or not. Here, student not found exception. Given ID does not exist ID. So here, student not found exception. How we are created our choice. Custom exception. Our choice extends runtime exception. I may add two fields by using Lombok annotations. I am generated R constructor. No R required R constructor. Non-null means I am adding non-null to one field. That means one R constructor. It is setter getters I am added. So service functionality working as expected. Let's check these test cases also passing or not. Run as JUnit. Previous video we are added JUnit test case for exception scenario. In that time we are using illegal argument exception, but now we are replaced it with our choice custom exception. If it is all test cases are passed, we will get green color here. So it is failed because we need to command these two lines. So application is failed to start. So now run, it will be executed successfully. Right click, run as JUnit. Once this is successfully, all test cases successfully completed, then we will get green color here. Wait sometime, this Spring Boot application starting. Yeah, tick mark here, all test cases. So successfully executed, no errors, no failures. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. What is finalize method in Java? It is a method called by garbage collector just before destroying an object. Just before destroying an object. What is finalize method in Java? It is a method called by garbage collector just before destroying an object. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about difference between throw and throws keywords in exception handling in Java. So let's get started. It is not a sketch video. It is continuation video of exception handling playlist. This playlist link I will provide in description of this video. So first I will write some bullet points about throw and throws. Throw. 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 First point. Sometimes we can create exception. We can create exception object explicitly, 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 and we can hand over to the JVM, hand over to the JVM manually by using throw throw keyword. Here, what is throw? Sometimes we can create exception object explicitly and we can hand over to the JVM manually by using throw keyword. Throw. Sometimes we can create exception object explicitly and we can hand over to the JVM manually by using throw keyword. Let's develop one sample code for this. So I am creating one private method. Private string get value method. So I am taking one parameter string name. Suppose if I am checking name is null or not. If name double equal to null, if it is null, I am saying throw new null pointer exception. Here null pointer exception. So it is a one parameter constructor. Mention some string here name must not null. So I am mentioning like this. After that, so I am converting this name to uppercase name dot to uppercase name dot uppercase. I am storing into string reference variable I am mentioning response, then return response semicolon. So this method development is done. See here, if name is null, then we are throwing null pointer exception. We are adding one string, name must not null. So here I am using static. So I will call by using this class name dot get value. First I am passing, suppose my name Shankar, semicolon, string response equal to sy system dot out dot println response control s. So here this is the we are passing argument to get value method. Go to get value, it is a get value. I am passing some value. So then it is not null. So this will not execute and it will be converted into uppercase and it will be written. So right click, run as Java application. There we will get same name in uppercase, right? So suppose if we are giving argument as null, then this condition is true. This condition will true, then it will throw null pointer exception. Right click, run as Java application. Here I am maximizing exception in thread main. This is the null pointer exception. Name must not null. So we are our message. This is our string message. So let's read this throw. Sometimes we can create exception object explicitly. See here we have created exception object. This is the by using new we have created null pointer exception object. Null pointer exception it will extends the exception. Here go to class null pointer exception, it is extending runtime exception. If we go to runtime exception, it will extending the so exception. That means here this runtime exception extends the exception, right? Sometimes we can create exception object explicitly. So like that we have created one object explicitly by using new operator. We have created one object for null pointer exception class, right? After that and we can hand over to the JVM manually by using throw keyword. So yeah, we have created null pointer exception object and by using throw we are hand over to the JVM. So this is we are successfully understand, right? Then go to copy this code, example code. So remove this point. Better to keep it. The example. This is the example code. Next throws. Yeah, throws post point. Throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch see here throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. Remember, throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch, right? Second point, throws keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method. Here throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. See, throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. Throws keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method. I will explain through code as well. So see here. So I am removing this code. I am taking one file reader. File equal to new file reader. We need to pass file, but this file is not exist. A.txt. This file is not exist. So after that, returning I am file colon return type I am changing to file. I am removing these parameters. File data return type is file data. So it is throwing one exception here. EOE exception. You can also give to, so this is the super type. So let's go to this control T. It will open hierarchy or implementation classes. See here, IOE exception. These are the subtypes. Lot many subtypes are there. In one of the subtype is file not found as well. You can search, you can find the file not found exception, right? Close this one. So this is the done private method done. So remove the parameter. It will returning the file reader. So try to read response dot read. See here post in this method where throws IOE exception. So if you want specifically, it is like a file not found exception. See here first point, throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. So we are saying throws is applied on method. This is the method name, right? Get value where applied throws and method. So next point, throws keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method. So here caller method nothing but this is the caller method. This is called caller method. See, we are saying throws keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method. So caller method, see, we are getting the exception, right? Here we need to handle the exception. For that, take one try. So after try, cat EOE exception, IOE exception, EX, SY, system.out.println. I am printing just message, get message, control S. So this file is not exist. I am just printing some message. Right click, run as Java application. We will get message here a.txt. The system cannot find the file specified. So this file is not available. So if you want to which class this exception is raising, then you will toString. toString will print description and name of the exception. Run as Java applications. See here, this is the class name. After that, this is the description. It is the description. This is the exception name, exception class name, and it is the description, right? So if you want to resolve, you can add this file in Control C. So which project? This is test JUnit project. Test JUnit here. This one. Right click, new file, Control V, finish. So this directory, this file is available. I am mentioning some text. Allow. Control S. Close this one. Unused imports. This is not used, so remove it. Control S. Right click, run as Java application. So here we are getting 104. So 104 we are getting. See here, throws. Throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. So here we are using throws for the method level. See, this is the method. At method level we are applied throws exception, right? After that, second point, throws keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method. Delegate, nothing but it is sending exception handling. It is exception handling is sending to caller method here. Caller method is the main method. Caller method. Exception handling, this method. Exception handling delegates to the sending to this method. This method exception needs to be handled. So in this video, we have successfully understand difference between throw and throws keywords in exception handling. See here, what is saying throw. Sometimes we can create exception object explicitly and we can hand over to the JVM manually by using throw keyword. Throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. Throw keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about most important interview question, how to handle exceptions in Spring Boot, or we can also call multiple ways Spring Boot exception handling, or global exception handling, or custom exception handling. In this video, I will show Spring Boot exception handling best practices. In this video, technologies used Spring Boot in Spring Boot version 3.3.2 used. It is not a scratch video, it is continuation video of exception handling playlist. This playlist link I will provide in description of this video. Here, if any exception is raised in Spring Boot application, we will get by default this format like timestamp, status, error path. So, but I don't want this format. I want this format message, error status, and timestamp. So, I will try to achieve this format message, error status, and timestamp. So, for that, I will do some code changes. So, let's get started. So we are all are now like in core Java how to create exceptions in Java, how to create exceptions. So here our exception class at last when you to add exception, suppose it is a student not found exception. After that I added exception extends either runtime exception or exception. See, I will explain here how to create exception in core Java. How to create custom exception in core Java. Core Java. So like public public class suppose student not found exception extends either we need to use exception or runtime exception, right? After that we need to add constructor here, constructor we need to add constructors. How many constructors we want? Those many with different parameters. Coming to our code, so we are using setter getters, all our constructor required are constructor. Here, public class student not found exception, where extended runtime exception. We can also extend exception as well. So here I am doing some changes. Here I am using all our constructor. So I am removing these as well. All our constructor, student not found exception with one parameter constructor, one message, control as. See here, expand. See, this is the setter, getter, student not found exception. It is expecting one parameter. So our exception class is ready. Then go to controller class, do some changes. Here if less than, see this is the ID parameter, right? We are passing ID. If less than or if negative number, then we are saying return this not found. Now I will run this and I will show what will happen right now. After that, I will do some code changes to achieve our format. Spring Boot app. Now Spring Boot application is running. Once up and running, then I can hit this endpoint in Postman. Here, now this is the student app, our project collection. Collection is nothing but multiple like group of methods in student controller. These are the methods are there. So suppose I'm passing negative number here. Suppose I'm passing -100. So I'm sending. See, we are getting student not found. See, student controller, it is printing student not found, right? So instead of using response entity, I will use now our custom class student not found exception. So I am commenting this throw new student not found exception. Copy this message. Control C, Control V, semicolon. So right, see if ID value is negative number less than 0, that means negative number we are saying throw student not found exception. Now let's see, I will run what kind of response we will get if student not found exception is thrown. If student not found exception is thrown, which kind of response we will get in Postman. Spring Boot application is up and running now. See here in student controller we are throw new student not found exception, student not found, right? So it the endpoint send. See here now we are getting, so in console here scroll down in console we are getting student not found exception, student not found. In Postman we are getting timestamp, status, error and path. See, like this format. So I am saying no, we don't want this format. We want this format, and this is failed, right? We are getting exception, right? So we are saying like we don't want this format. We want custom exception format. So I want this format. To achieve this, we need to add another class like student rest controller advice. We need to add one advice. So here I will show some sample code. Suppose public public student student rest controller advice. Suppose like this one sample class we need to annotate with at at rest controller advanced yet rest controller advanced. We need to add one method public suppose response entity as of now I'm asking question mark means any type it is allowed. So method name student not found here I'm annotating with yet exception handler. We need to pass here value equal to student not found exception dot class response status. We need to pass here response status. So http status dot not found. Like this we need to write. So here how to handle exceptions in Spring Boot. For this interview question, answer is first we need to create exception class. After that we need to extend a runtime exception. Then we need to create controller or REST controller hardware. At class level we need to annotate REST controller hardware. After that we need to create one method for method. We need to create method. At method level we need to annotate exception handler. We need to pass exception class here student not found. This is the student not found exception we need to pass here. After that response starter. If this exception is raised, which kind of response we are expecting. So I am saying so student not found, like not found status I am expecting. This is the some sample code for Spring Boot exception handling. First we need to create exception class. After that extends either runtime exception or exception. After that we need to create another class like REST controller hardware. We need to annotate at class level REST controller hardware. At method level we need to annotate with at exception handler. At exception handler we need to pass value. Value is a exception class. Here student not found exception, right? We are passing student not found exception dot class. After that which kind of response we are expecting, then we need to pass this. After that some logic to we need to add some logic to return some structure, like we need to add some logic to return this format. So I will show that. So here now I am creating student REST controller advice. So right click new. So we take the class package I'm mentioning advice class I'm mentioning here student controller advice finish. Then we need to annotate at REST controller advanced. Here REST controller advanced I'm maximizing. After that we need to add method public response entity T means type. I will come to this. So student not found method name I'm giving student not found. So it is expecting we need to add at method level at exception handler. We need to pass this student not found exception class here value. We need to pass here value dot class. After that control shift O for imports. Whenever this student not found exception is there, then we are expecting response status. Here we are expecting response status http here we are expecting status http as http status dot not found. So whenever student not found exception raised, we are expecting response status not found, right? Here we are expecting this pop message error status timestamp. For that we need to create another class. Now I am creating another class in exception package. So I am adding another class new class student error response Here I'm adding another class student error response. This format we are expecting this format, right? Message error status timestamp. So add those three fields here. Private string message. String is a message is a string type. After that, private integer error status. After that, private timestamp. Giving timestamp as a string. Select all control shift F for format. We need to add setter getters for that. Setters getter setter. If you want to, you can add constructor as well, or R constructor as well. No R constructor required, R constructor. If you require, you can add. So I'm not adding those. Here type I'm returning this student error response control shift O. In brackets, we need to mention the student not found exception EX. Whenever raising student not found exception, we go to student controller. This is student not found, right? It is a constructor with one parameter. So here we are setting some data. Whenever exception is raising, we are setting some data like student not found, right? So we need to first create the object for this student error response. So response dot set response dot set message is there, right? String it is expecting. So ex dot get message controllers here, because here whenever student not found exception is raised, so we are passing one parameter, right? Parameter, this is value we are passing. So same we are now that value we are storing here. Set message up to we will check it is giving expected or not. Then we can add other two fields, like other two fields are nothing but integer timestamp. Two fields are there, right? So return new return new response entity. Here type is optional. In generics, we can add one place only. After that is response comma http status dot not found. Here http status dot not found semicolon. Control S. Stop the server. Let's run and hit the endpoint. Let's see which kind of error we are getting. It is, see, we are added, right? Controller adway. So this is picking up or not. Spring Boot application is up and running. See, previously we get the timestamp, status error, and path. And status is 500 internal server error. But we are changed to not found 404. Not found means 404. Now I'm hitting the endpoint. See, here we got the student not found as expected. See, as expected only message student not found. Right? If you want to ID value also, then go to controller. Here one space plus ID controllers. Stop the server. Again, right click run as Spring Boot application. Here we are expecting this format message error starter timestamp. So now let's hit the endpoint. We are giving minus negative value, right? Go to your student controller. We are saying if a negative number is there, then we are saying throw the exception, student not found exception, right? So I'm hitting endpoint. Here message as expected, student not found exception, student not found ID value. Here message student not found ID value, but remaining error status and timestamp getting null. We can also set those values. Go to student controller advanced. Here response there, right? Response dot set error status. It is expecting the integer value. Remember, it is expecting the integer value. Dot value method is there. It is returning int. This is ready. After that, response dot set timestamp. Set, yes, spelling wrong. Go to timestamp. Set timestamp. Timestamp. STAMP. Timestamp. Go to here. Remove this timestamp. It is expecting string, right? add the local date and time. Here add local date and time. Control Shift O imports. Here let's check local date and time. After that, control space. Now is there, right? Local date and time dot now. After that, format is returning string, right? So I add the format datetime formatter dot datetime datetime formatter dot I ISO datetime, right? So here to achieve exception handling in Spring Boot, we need one exception class. That exception class must be extends either runtime exception or exception. After that, we need one constructor. So I am creating constructor by using all our constructor. Setters also fine. I am added also setters, but I am not used. You can create one constructor and setters getters as well. So I am added one field. So here on parameter constructor it is. So that one parameter constructor here I am used. Condition is like if id value is negative less than, if id value is negative, then I am saying throw the student not found exception. I am passing the parameter value. Then here student controller advice, this parameter value I am setting to set message. After that, set error status. So response status we are expecting not found, right? Same I am giving number I am passing. After that, timestamp I am passing. So in controller advice at class level we need to annotate at dash controller advice annotation. At method level we need to annotate at exception handler. In value we need to mention which kind of exception it is throwing. So we need to add whenever student not found exception is throwing, then this controller advice will be called. Whenever student not found exception is raised here, this is student not found exception, right? Whenever this exception is raised, then this student not found controller advice method is called, because of exception handler we are set to student not found. So let's stop the server and run. See, we are getting expected response format or not. See, we are expected this format message error status and timestamp. By default we are getting the timestamp status error and path, but we are saying, hey, I don't want this format timestamp status error and path. We want this format message error status and timestamp. So let's see, it will be gives as expected. The error status or not. So I am meeting. So I am passing negative number. We are said like where developer code like whenever negative number we are passing to student slash exist method get method. We are saying throw the exception student not found. So in this format message error status timestamp. Now I am hitting the endpoint, send the request. Here we are getting as expected message error status timestamp. See, message error status timestamp. In this video, we have successfully understand most important integration how to handle exceptions in Spring Boot or Spring Boot exception handling or global exception handling or custom exception handling best practices. So here to achieve this format, we need mandatory another extra class like this format. In this format, we are expecting like exception, right? So we need this class. I am passing this class as a return type. This is the student error response. This is the return type. So now I will commit my changes into GitHub repository. I will provide GitHub repo link and this exception handling playlist in description. So minimize, click on the project. This is student app. We are working on now student app. Right click properties. Go to location of the workspace. After that, open the our project. Open in CMD. Get started. These files were modified. These files newly added. Then get dot means all files. Get commit -m. So message Spring Boot custom exception handling. So why we are calling like custom? This is the default format. We are making our choice format. That's why we are calling it custom exception handling, or our choice format we are printing. Git push. So if you want, you can also add some date as a Jira ID. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about what to write JUnit test cases for controller advice or REST controller advice. In this video, I am writing JUnit test cases for student REST controller advice class. In this video, technology is used Spring Boot. In Spring Boot version is used 3.3.2. It is not a script video. It is continuation video of JUnit playlist and exception playlist. These two playlists I will provide in description. So let's get started coding. Here in student controller advice, two methods are there: student not found and student internal server error. I will show which scenario this student not found method is called and which scenario student internal server error method is called. This is the controller advice. If in your application controller advice is there, so at class level we need to annotate with at controller advice. Method level we need to annotate with at exception handler, right? So go to student controller SRC main Java student controller. Here we have one exist method is there. So request bar long ID we are passing parameter as ID. This checking if ID less than, this is the less than 0, nothing but if ID value is negative number we are saying throw the student not found exception. Here whenever student not found exception is thrown, it will be called this exception handler. Student not found exception, this will be called, this method will be called. Except this student not found exception if any kind of error like null pointer exception, number format exception, remaining any kind of error, this second method will be called. Here second method we are using exception handler value equal to exception. Exception is nothing but super class for all exception classes, right? So it will be called. So I will it through postman. I will show. So here postman, this is our collection student app exists by ID. So first time passing positive scenario 1003 record is available in database. Let's see. So first we need to run the Spring Boot application. Right click, run as Spring Boot app. Wait until this Spring Boot application up and running. Here we are getting class not found exception. So clean post, clean. Wait until cleaning process will be completed. Then we can start this project. So cleaning process is going on. Wait some time. It is now building. Wait some time. It is building. 41% is there right now. Here right click, run as Spring Boot app. Once Spring Boot application up and running, then we can hit this endpoint through Postman. Now Spring Boot application is up and running. Here, how can I say? I am saying like this Spring Boot application is up and running. See, let's verify the logs. Logs. Here, Tomcat started. Tomcat started on port number 8080. See what is mentioned? Tomcat started on port 8080. That means this is the Spring Boot application now up and running. Right now, Spring Boot application is up and running. So minimize, double click, minimize. Then at the endpoint, this is positive scenario, we will get true. Because exist by ID method, it will returning the true. So I am giving this record related, this is ID related, record in database not available, so we will get false. So go to controller, student controller. So go to student controller. Suppose ID value negative, then it is throwing student not found exception, right? So see here, student not found exception. Suppose I am giving -100, then you will get not found. It is calling the student not found exception. Student not found exception. This it will calling the controller advice. This student not found controller advice. It is calling this controller advice. So this one is calling here exception handler value equal to mentioning student not found exception. Suppose accept this if any kind of error, right? Suppose we are using here exception handler value equal to exception, right? Any kind of error we are handle here specific error, right? Student not found error we are specifically adding. Accept that if any kind of error raised, then we are throwing this. If any kind of error, accept that we are giving internal server error. So I am mentioning here. So here I am mentioning my name. So it is expecting long, but we are passing string. Let's see which kind of error it is getting. So fail to convert value of type java.long.string to required type java.long.long. So here this is we are getting internal server error message error status timestamp. So if accept, see, this is specifically we are throwing student not found accept this student not found error. If any another error like empty error null error, see suppose I am passing null. See what kind of exception it will be raised. See same message error status timestamp internal server error. It is saying null. So here, here close this one. Don't save. Close this one. So we are successfully understand right. So when we are raising this student not found controller advice method when this calling and when this calling, I will write JUnit test cases for both two. So we can write in controller itself to call these two. We can also write like we can also create another advice method and we can also write there. So first I will show through controller method. After that I will write same in advice. I will create advice as a, I will create one advice package. I will also write JUnit test cases there. So controller student controller test. Let's see these test cases are working as expected or not. If any test case is failed, then we can fix it. So now I will write two test cases here, like student not found controller advice method and student internal server error controller advice. See, one test case is failed. It is saying expected student not found, but it was actually. So go to this where passing negative number. It is throwing student not found exception. So student not found exception it is throwing. See here in student controller we are giving negative number. It is throwing student not found exception. Then it is calling student controller advice. Student controller advice. This method it is calling. It is written student error response. In student error response, these three fields are there, right? So go to here, three fields: message, message error status, timestamp, right? So here change instead of this comment this one. Here add comment. So after student controller advanced, after student controller advanced commented this line. So after student controller advanced created after creating student controller advanced, this is not working. So to fix, copy this one. Here this one, Control C, Control V, semicolon. Here it is expecting suppose message three fields it is returning, right? So it is three fields, right? Message it is student not found hyphen minus 100. So same here, student not found this one space minus 100. So see, let's run. What will happen now? Let's verify. If again any error is raising, then we can fix. Wait some time. Now this application will be post Spring Boot application will be started. After that, JUnit test cases will be started. Here again failed. It is saying invalid path exception. So after this dollar symbol, we need to mention dot. So right click, run as JUnit. Let's verify it is successfully passing or not. If I can fail, then we can change code again. Now Spring Boot application is starting. Once Spring Boot application is started, then JUnit test cases will be running. Here green color. So all test cases are passed. Here now all test cases are passed. So I'm copying this Control C, Control V. Now student internal server error. And we are getting internal server error. Either we are passing null or string. Suppose I'm giving string here. This is the ID field value. Request parameter value we are passing. So it is expecting integer, but I am passing string. So it will return the error. Which error? It will. So for the to handle this, we have created student control advice, right? It is any kind of exception. And if any kind of exception is raised, this method is called student internal server error. So it will be internal server error, right? Here is internal server error. I'm removing these two and I will unexpect, I will check, unexpect, I will check error code. Here, error status is there. So copy paste same. If it is thrown internal server error, student control advanced method, then it will give value as a 500, 500 controllers. So let's verify these one test case is already successfully executed. Let's verify last test case. Test student internal server error. This test case executing or not. If it is successfully executed, it is throwing is internal server error, and we are checking the JSON path error status. Here green color. So this method is successfully, this method or JUnit test case successfully executed. So let's create new package. Go to here. It is giving like some unused imports. So those you can comment it. Command. Commit. So create the new package like advail com.in dot advail here student controller advail finish. We need to annotate at class level at Springboard test private student controller advail at inject marks. So public void test, we are writing test case for student controller advail this method. Student not found, copy. Student not found, first letter in capital. So at method level, test case level, at the test control C2 for imports. Student controller advail, copy this one. Dot here student controller advail, right? We need to append test as well. Test rename student. Here student controller advail test control space. This the student not found. So mention student not found exception is expecting the string student not found. So semicolon. This method is returning response entity of student error response. Control C. Control V. Response. Here response entity we need to import. Student error response we need to import. Here student control hardware. This is the method, right? Student not found. It is returning student error response. So copy this one. Let's add some asset conditions. Asset dot asset not null. Control space asset not null response. This is the actual method call. This is the actual method call. This is the validating results. This is the validating results. So add some more asset conditions. Dot asset equals. Here go to student error response. So student error response, it is the 3 fields, right? So I will add 3 asset conditions here. So it is asset equals, right? Response dot get body dot get message. So string expected equal to, copy this one. This is expected. Control X, Control V, semicolon. Expected one replace here. So replace here expected. First one is the expected. Second one is the actual. Let's see. First one is the expected. We need to pass after the actual. So this one asset condition, another asset condition. Get body dot get error status. Error status. It is expecting status code 404 not found. For another one, take the SSN dot asset not null response dot get body dot get timestamp. So this timestamp keep on changing, right? So I am not using asset equals. Remember that point. So right click, run as JUnit test case. Now post Spring Boot application will be started. After that, the JUnit test case will be executed. Either it will be pass or fail. Let's see what will happen. So if it is passed, you will get green color. Here we got the green color. This test case is passed. So another method is there, right? In student controller advanced. See, student internal server error. I will also write same. So go to your student controller advanced test and copying same test case or test method. I am changing test student internal server error. So I am mentioning here. So see in Postman, suppose in Postman, if we are giving name, like instead of integer value, I am passing name, what will happen? See, we are getting failed to convert, right? So copy this one, failed to convert value of type. Same I am mentioning here. So after that, name, method name is student internal server error. It is expecting exception, right? So I am giving new exception, new exception. So it is the method name is the student internal server error. So I am passing parameter. This is the parameter of student internal server error. It is expecting the exception, right? So I am validating just only. This is I am removing. So I am expecting the status error status. Status for I am expecting 500. So this is also I am removing. No control as right click run as JUnit test case. Post Spring Boot application will be started. After that, this JUnit test case will be executed. JUnit test case are JUnit method, JUnit test method. If it is successfully executed, it will get green color. See here, these two test cases successfully completed. We got the green color. So runs to our passed. Now I will commit my changes into Git repository. Thank you for watching. In this video, we have successfully understand how to write JUnit test cases for controller advanced or REST controller advanced. In this video, we are using student REST controller class. We are writing JUnit test cases for student REST controller advanced. So minimize. I will commit now my changes into GitHub repository. Go to our application. This is our application student app properties. Go to the workspace location. After that, open our project. So CMD, check the status. Status nothing but how many files we are modified. These are the modified. These are the package we are added. So git add dot means all files. Git commit -m. Suppose you are working for some story, some Jira ticket, then we need to mention Jira ticket. Else, yeah, I don't have any Jira ticket, so I am using like a today date as a Jira ticket. So I am mentioning it is the best practice only. It is not a mandatory to mention the Jira ticket. Few companies Jira ticket is mandatory. So controller hardware JUnit test cases committed git push. Git push sometimes it will take 1 or 2 minutes in real time projects. Now here it is taking very less time. CLS for in. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about how to handle Spring Boot exceptions in all scenarios. All scenarios, that means, for example, if you are getting null pointer exception, empty exception, number format exception, date format exception, cannot convert string into number, etc. These kind of different kind of exceptions. How to handle Spring Boot exceptions in all scenarios. Here, this is not a sketch video, it is continuation video of exception handling playlist. This playlist I will provide in description in this video. Spring Boot version using 3.3.2. So let's get started. Here, go to student controller. This is the student controller. So yeah, this is the student class level path. Method level path is exists. I will call this method in positive way, like it is a student exists by ID. So I will hit this endpoint that student ID must available in database. So let's check which kind of records are there. Student records are available in database. Post Scott tiger. So set pages is equal to 1000000. Set lines 1000000. Select star from student semicolon. Here 1003 record is there, right? So go to controller. Student exists by ID. Service call, right? This go to service class. See, it is returning boolean. That means if student is available, exist by given ID, request parameter given ID, then we will get true. Else false. So see here, now I am hitting 1003 is there in database here. So 1003. So I am hitting now. First we need to start the Spring Boot application. So right click, run as Spring Boot app. Wait until Spring Boot application up and running. Here now Spring Boot application is starting. Wait some time. This application should be up and running. See here, this is the Spring Boot banner. So it is now running. We are getting the logs. These are the logs. So wait some time. This Spring Boot application will be started. So then it this endpoint positive scenario. Here we got true. Suppose I'm adding 1. This record is not available. Let's see, we got the false. In student controller, suppose, see long ID, right? If ID less than 0, then if ID value is negative, then we are saying throw the student not found exception. Let's see. Suppose I am giving this is the ID request parameter, right? We need to add in params. Suppose minus 100. What it will happen? See, we got the 404 not found, student not found, error status, timestamp. What is it? This is the custom exception handling. Here we are said whenever student not found exception is raised, so we added one student controller advice class. So whenever student not found exception is call this method. So we are setting the message. Whatever the message we are getting, student not found exception, we are setting here. We are getting and we are setting here. After that, some HTTP status number we are passing integer. After the timestamp, student error response. We have created one class, this message error status and timestamp. So we are mentioning here, this is we are giving as a response entity. Same it is returning, right? So what will happen? This is working for true. If we are passing negative number, this is working as expected. Whenever we are passing negative number, it is calling student not found exception. So it is throwing exception, and by using student controller advice, we are handling this exception, right? What will happen if we will not pass anything? If we are not passing anything, then it is empty. It is handling. See, it is not handling. What will happen if we will pass double quotes? That exception will handling. So it is not handling. See, we are getting timestamp status error path. Suppose we are giving string, it is handling Shankar. There it is not handling. So we are getting timestamp, starter, error, and path. But we want in this format message, error, status, timestamp. So it is not working right. To here, how to handle Springboard exceptions in all scenarios. Example, null pointer exception, empty, number format exception, illegal argument exception, date format exception, cannot convert string into number, etc. Any kind of exception is raised. So to handle these all kinds of errors. So I will add another method. See here, I'm copying this method, Control C. So we all are know like exception is a super class of all exceptions, right? Exception is a super class of all exceptions. So exception, Control C, paste here. So we are handling student not found exception rather than this exception is raised. So call this because it is a super exception for all kind of exception. So whenever raising exception, except student not found. So I am saying return the internal server error, internal server error. So same replace here as well. Control as stop the server. So Spring Boot application, right click, run as Spring Boot app. Where sometime Spring Boot application will be up and running. Once up and running, we can send this endpoint through Postman. So here in this case, we are passing Shankar. It is actually controller method expecting long as a ID value. Request bar long ID as a ID value. But we are passing Shankar. See, if it is successfully handling, then we will get this student control advice is successfully handling, then we will get a message error status timestamp. Does it is handling or not? Sending. See, here it is handling. Message error status timestamp. See, we are getting 500 internet server error. Same we are mentioning, right? Internet server error. See here, internet server error. So if we are sending string, what is saying message fail to convert value of type string to required type long. It is saying suppose I am not passing. It is like a empty. See, required request parameter ID for the parameter type long is present. It but converted to null. So it is saying null. So double quotations I am passing. Let's see what will happen. Fail to convert value of the type string. So it is saying like this. So see in this video, we are successfully able to handle Spring Boot exceptions in all scenarios, right? Like null pointer exception, empty exception, number format exception. Suppose like date format cannot convert string into number, etc. So now I will commit the changes to Git repository. Next video, I will make for except like GNU test cases. I will write GNU test cases for these two methods. So next video I will write GNU test cases for these two methods, right? So here student outbound I'm changing to student outbound exception. So student outbound, suppose I'm giving ex student outbound ex and student outbound right? Student outbound here student internal server error. Suppose I'm giving student internal server error, right? At last I am attaching the type HTTP status type. If this method is called, then we will get student internal server error. If it is this method is called student not found, if it is HTTP status not found is called, then we will get student not found, right? Control as I'm stopping. Last I will recheck this working or not. Right click run as Spring Boot app. Next video I will develop GN test cases for these two student controller methods. Now Spring Boot application is up and running. Wait some time unsuccessfully up and running, then we can hit the endpoint. Here I will now check again 1000. It is like a negative number. Then we will get student not found. Here we are getting student not found. Suppose I am giving string. My name I am giving. Then what will get? Fail to convert value of type string to long. So suppose I am giving empty. It is giving present but converted to null. So null. We are passing on null. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I will commit my changes and I will provide Git repository link into description. So minimize. Here this is our student app. Right click properties. Here go to the workspace location. Open our project. CMD. Check the Git status. Which files we are modified. We are modified only one file. Git add. You can copy this. Control C. Control V. Enter. Git add done, right? Git format. -m means message. Suppose I don't have Jira. Suppose I'm using today date as a Jira ticket 08/2024 : So Spring Boot acceptance for all scenarios. This is the commit message. Git push. Sometimes Git push it will take 1 or 2 minutes as well. In real time companies, don't worry. Please wait until Git push will be completed. So thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this video channel. Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about difference between exception propagation and rethrowing exception in exception handling in Java. So let's get started. It is not a scratch video. It is continuation video of exception handling playlist. So first I will write some bullet points about exception propagation and rethrowing exception. So first exception propagation. Here within a method if an exception raised and if that method does not handle that exception, does not handle that exception, then exception object will be propagated propagated to the caller. Then caller method is responsible to and that exceptions here exception propagation within a method. If an exception is raised within a method, if an exception is raised, and if that method does not handle that exception, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Then caller method is responsible to handle that exceptions. So let's write some sample code. Here post within a method if an exception is raised. So this is one sentence, it is like a one sentence. Within a method if an exception is raised, so create a one method. That method should raise an exception. So private static integer get int value here. Then suppose integer value equal to 10 divided by 0. We will get arithmetic exception, right? Return value. So in this method, we are getting exception, arithmetic exception, but we are not handling. Here, within a method, if an exception is raised, and if that method does not handle that exception, so here one exception is raising, but we are not handled. So then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Then caller method is responsible to handle that exceptions. Then caller method is responsible to handle that exceptions. So this is the caller method. So this method exception. So this get int value method exception where propagated to this main method. So we are propagated. This is the caller method. This get int value. This method exception are suppose exceptions are propagated to the main method. Main method are caller method. Main method are caller method. So this is static method, right? We can call through class name dot get int value. It will return integer response. So if you want to print this value xy system.out.println response. Here let's within a method if an exception is raised, and if that method does not handle that exceptions. So here in this method exception is rising, but we are not handling this exception. After that, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Then caller method is responsibility to handle that exception. So caller method is responsibility to handle that exception. Then and here I am using try block. So try catch, I am mentioning arithmetic exception ex reference variable. So I am printing. Here I am printing ex dot toString. toString will print name of the exception, why this exception is raised, description of the exception. Right click, run as Java application. Here this is the name of the exception is raised, arithmetic exception. Why raised divided by 0, because of the slash divided by 0, this reason exception is raised. So copy this code. So example code. After that, here in diagram, this one rethrowing exception. So rethrowing exception to convert the one type of exception to another type of exception. What is exception? rethrowing exception. To convert the one type of exception to another type of exception is called exception rethrowing. For that example, here, so here raising, this is the try block in catch block, arithmetic exception is raising, so I am rethrowing. So rethrowing exception, throw new, suppose null pointer exception. I am throwing null pointer exception. So here ex dot get message, ex dot do one thing, ex dot to string. It will print then it will print description and see it will print description and name of the exception. So rethrowing exception. If you want to rethrow any exception, we need to add like this rethrowing exception. So let's run. Right click, run as Java application. Here we are getting automatic exception. We are rethrowing to null pointer exception. See, right? Copy this code. Control C. Example. Control V. Let's recall this one. Difference between exception propagation and rethrowing exception in exception handling in core Java. So here exception. This is the exception propagation within a method if an exception is raised. Here we have developed one method to raise an exception. We are using 10/0. It will be raising one exception within a method if an exception is raised. In this method, exception is raised, right? And if that method does not handle that exceptions, so we are not handling any exception here, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Caller means we are calling that method, get into value method, we are calling in main method. Then exception object will be propagated to the caller, Then caller is responsibility to handle that exception. So caller method is responsibility to handle that exception. Here it is a caller method. This get into value method exceptions are propagated to the main method or caller method. So this caller method is responsibility to handle the exception. So we are added try block. In try block, we are calling get into value. This method will raise an exception. So we are placed in try block. After that, we are handling the catch block. So this is where successfully understand, right? After that, rethrowing exception to convert the one type of exception to another type of exception is called rethrowing an exception. Here in try block, some code is there. We are handling the catch block. After that, we are rethrowing exception. To rethrowing exception, we are using throw new null pointer exception. This is means rethrowing exception. This line means rethrowing exception. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about some of the core Java exception handling interview questions and answers. It is not a script video, it is continuation video of exception handling playlist. So this is the last video of exception handling. This playlist link I will provide in description of this video. This is like a summary video. In this video, we are just discussing about some of interview questions and answers related to core Java exception handling and Spring Boot exception handling. So let's get started. Here post question, define exception. Here exception definition is an unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of the program is called as exception. Here again I am repeating, an unwanted, unexpected event that disturbs normal flow of the program is called as exception. Example, file not found exception, null pointer exception, error index out of bound exception, like that. So second question, tell me which keywords are used in core Java exception handling. Like keywords are nothing but here in this code, we are using try, catch. After that, finally will be there, throw, and throws as well is there. See, total keywords are 5. Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. Base class of exception handling in core Java. Base class of exception handling in core Java. So what is the base class of exception handling? See, suppose it is arithmetic exception, right? Go to inside arithmetic exception. Here it is extends runtime exception. See, after that exception, tell me which base class of exception handling in core Java. This is nothing but exception. tell me the hierarchy of the exception class. Exception class hierarchy. So here control T. It will open the hierarchy. It will open the hierarchy. Let's see. So control T to open the hierarchy. So it is loading. Wait some time. Just repeat the question. Tell me the hierarchy of the exception handling. Tell me the hierarchy of exception handling in exception handling in core Java. Tell me the hierarchy of the exception handling in core Java. So see, object is derived throwable. Throwable as two subtypes, exception and error. Go to throwable. Here this is throwable, right? Control T, hierarchy. So object throwable exception error. This is hierarchy. See here, see here. So object throwable exception error. This is the hierarchy, right? Next question. This is just overview. For detailed explanation, please go through these videos. Next question, fifth question. See here, core Java exception handling hierarchy. Same question, repeated. What are unchecked and checked exceptions? See here, checked exceptions under exception. So under exception, like you can go to the exception class, control T. So exception under classes are called. See, this is exception, right? Suppose these are the implementation classes. That means these are the checked exceptions. These are the checked exceptions under runtime exception and its subclasses and error and its subclasses are called unchecked exceptions. So what are checked and unchecked and checked exceptions? Nothing but what are unchecked exceptions comes under if any class belongs to exception, then this is called as unchecked exception. If any class belongs to under exception, it is called a checked exception. If any class belongs to subtype of runtime exception or error is called unchecked exception. Here, checked exception nothing but under exception class. Under exception class, unchecked. Unchecked is nothing but under runtime exception or under runtime exception or error. If any class under exception class, it is called a checked exception. If any class under runtime exception or error, it is called unchecked exception. If any class under exception, it is called a checked exception. If any class under runtime exception or error, it is called a unchecked exception. Right? Next question: what is finally block? So here, what is finally block? So finally block should be executed always, irrespective of whether exception raised or not. Irrespective of exception raised or not. Finally block should be executed always, irrespective of exception raised or not. Suppose go to so here this is try catch. If you want to add finally, finally the mandatory block. If it is exception raised or not, but this finally block must be executed. So next one, difference between throw and throws. See here, difference between throw and throws. So go to throw. Sometimes we can create exception object explicitly and we can hand over to the Java manual by using throw keyword. See here, we are using throw keyword, right? See, sometimes we can create exception object explicitly and we can hand over to the Java manual by using throw keyword. Next, throws. Throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. Throws keyword. Here, throws. Throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. Throws keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller. Difference between throw and throws. Throw. Sometimes we can create exception object explicitly and we can hand over to the JVM manually by using throw keyword. Throws. Throws is applied on methods alternative for try catch. Throws keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller. What is finally blocked? It is covered here. Next, tell me some built-in exceptions names like arithmetic exception, file not found exception, illegal argument exception, null pointer exception, like that. How to create custom or user-defined exception class. So or to create customer user defined exception class. That means you can public class suppose can mention or exception. Something I'm mentioning. Extend you can use either exception, otherwise runtime exception or runtime exception. What is exception propagation and what is exception rethrowing? So exception propagation within a method, if an exception raised and if that method does not handle that exception, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Caller method is responsibility to handle that exceptions within a method. Within a method, if an exception raised, see here we have example also. So see this is the method. This is the method. So within a method, if an exception raised, so here because 10 divided by 0, we are getting arithmetic exception. If an exception raised, this method is raising an exception, and if that method does not handle that exception, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. So we are not handling any exception, but this get into value we are calling here. So within a method, if an exception raised and if that method does not handle that exception, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Then caller method is responsible to handle that exception. So this method is throwing the exception. So here caller method is responsibility to handle that exception. So we are using try catch to handle that exception, right? After that, exception rethrowing to convert the one type of exception to another type is called exception rethrowing. See, we are getting here catch block arithmetic exception is there. We are again rethrowing null pointer exception is called exception rethrowing to convert the one exception type to another exception type. See, we have successfully reviewed some of the core Java exception handling interview questions and answers. Define exception. Tell me which keywords are used in core Java exception handling. Base class of exception class. Base class of exception class is throwable. Tell me the hierarchy of the exception class. So exception class hierarchy like object throwable exception. Another side in throwable error. Core Java exception handling hierarchy. So core Java exception hierarchy is nothing but object throwable exception, object throwable exception error. What are unchecked and checked exceptions? Checked exceptions are nothing but under the exception class implementations are called checked exceptions. Under the runtime exceptions and errors are called unchecked exceptions. What is finally block? Finally block is a mandatory block. If it is getting error or not, that is not a matter, but this finally block should be executed. Difference between throw and throws. So difference between throw and throws. Sometimes sometimes we can create exception object explicitly and we can hand over to the JVM manual by using throw keyword. Throws throws is applied and methods alternative for try catch. Throw keyword is to delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller. Next, what is finally repeated? Tell me some built-in exception names like arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, so illegal argument exception, like that. How to create custom class? Our class extends either exception or runtime exception is called custom class. What is exception propagation? Exception propagation is nothing but here within a method, if an exception raised and if that method does not handle that exception, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Then caller method is responsible to handle that exceptions. What is rethrowing an exception? To convert the one exception type to another exception type. I'm repeating again. What is exception propagation? Within a method, if an exception raised and if that method does not handle that exception, then exception object will be propagated to the caller. Then caller method is responsible to handle that exceptions. So thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel.